Much like the last few moments of the Royal Rumble were enough to make a lot, and I mean a lot, of the YWC just do one of these, just shed a tear, or two or three. The last few seconds of this Raw, let me assure you, were enough to put a big, big smile on my face. Oh yes. Ooh,
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and then open the make.
What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is Road Signs. This is the Raw review for February 9th, 2015. A lot of good stuff in this Raw, and I said last week, didn't I? I made a conscious decision, and I said it on Facebook, and I said it on Twitter. The problems I have with Daniel Bryan are sort of becoming all-encompassing on this channel, aren't they? I've made the conscious decision that no matter how dumb Daniel Bryan's booking is, I am not going to let it destroy my road to WrestleMania, especially since now we're in the fast lane. Yes, I had to do the cliche thing. This was an amazing Raw. Build for pretty much everything that is currently going on. We even plugged the NXT pay-per-view a couple times, which I thought was really, really nice, because, you know, the network is free for the month of February for all of you that cried and deleted it so that you could get it again, so that you get a free month, rah. But, yeah, you see NXT's influence all over this Raw tonight, for sure. I'm not going to go on a huge tirade on that like I have in the past, but we plugged the NXT pay-per-view this coming Thursday or Wednesday. Should be great. Owens versus Zayn, the four-way for the women's title, the tag team championship match between, who the hell is it? Los Matadors and Blake and Murphy, I believe. You're gonna have Baron Corbin versus Bull Dempsey again, I believe. I don't know what else there is right off the top of my head, because this is a Raw review. We start off with Roman Reigns, who comes out and makes some good points. He says, I was the Royal Rumble winner. I should be going on to WrestleMania to fight Brock Lesnar, but because I'm not, now I have to go through Daniel Bryan at Fastlane, and then go on to Mania to beat Brock Lesnar and become the champion. Bryan comes out with... And guys, I wish I didn't have to say this, because yes, I know Daniel Bryan's great in the ring when they let him be great, but if I've done videos on this before, and I wish I wasn't saying this just to back up those videos, but he cuts a John Cena promo full of jokes that aren't funny, mocks Roman Reigns, thanks him for the help winning last week, basically admitting that he doesn't really belong at the pay-per-view on Sunday, or next Sunday rather. He mocks Roman Reigns for being bigger, for being stronger, and he says that they have the same physical appeal. Yeah, he starts mocking his appearance, and he says, I'm a better wrestler. Basically, this is like your big, smiley, happy baby face, basically mocking the hell out of an opponent who's also a baby face. So where's Daniel Bryan, this great guy with the moral compass and the struggling story? No, he's just mocking his opponent with jokes that aren't funny, a la John Cena. The Authority come out and save us from that. They plug the network, they plug Fastlane. Triple H mocks Sting and says that Sting has till the end of the night to respond to his challenge for Fastlane. Somebody said it on Twitter, and it's absolutely true. Triple H challenged Sting to show up tonight to announce that he would show up at Fastlane. They're not going to fight at Fastlane, or at least unless there's like some little brawl or whatever. Roman, you cost Rollins his match last week. You're an asshole, more or less. Daniel, you put Kane in a casket, which makes you, you know, a weird guy. How could you do that kind of thing? Bryan comes up with lame necrophilia jokes that nobody's going to get unless they were watching fucking 10 years ago. So again, Bryan struggling to be relevant and failing. They announced that Bryan and Roman are going to face Big Show and Kane tonight, because Big Show and Kane have been wronged by Roman and Bryan. It does make sense if you want to look at it from the slanted point of view of the Authority. Roman did come down in a match that didn't involve him and speared the Big Show, which to the Authority would be bad. The Authority put Daniel Bryan in the casket match a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, but they didn't expect him to win, therefore putting Kane in a casket is bad. From the biased point of view of the Authority, you can see how this match makes complete sense. They start off the match, Kane boots and punches Bryan a lot. Bryan tosses Kane to the outside, which is bullshit because size difference and such and momentum and leverage and all those things just don't apply because it's Daniel Bryan. And then we hit a BS suicide dive by a guy who's apparently got a bad neck because Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns hits some awesome headbutts to Kane, starts working on Kane's arm, a little bit of psychology from Roman Reigns. I wish he could teach a little bit to Daniel Bryan, of course. Clotheslines Kane, brawling with the Big Show, headbutts from the Big Show to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns hits 2 clotheslines in the corner and a DDT. More headbutts from the Big Show, uppercut from Kane, and a beatdown. Kane rides a headlock on Bryan for a long time. Show pie faces Bryan. I can't read what that says. And Daniel Bryan comes back with my favorite and yours. Oh yes, the Daniel Bryan silly kicks. Oh yes. Outside, Bryan tries a dive. This was fucking beautiful. This is one of my favorite moments of the night. Big Show and Kane, 2 of the biggest guys on the roster, are on the outside. Daniel Bryan, who's a $150 with a brick in his pocket, tries to do a splash on both of them. They catch him. They don't just double chokeslam him, they double chokeslam him against the ropes because they're outside. They lift him up, they bounce him off the ropes. Basically, he face plants on the ground. It's a brilliant little spot. Show owns Bryan with a body hold and a bear hug for a while. Kane hits an elbow drop and a near fall. Kane hits a running clothesline, a side slam, and an uppercut. Show with headbutts and a step over, basically crushing the ribs and such. And the ribs are connected to the shoulder, which apparently is bad if you follow Daniel Bryan's pity story, but we don't sell that whatsoever. Show misses a second rope splash and Kane goes after Roman. Bryan sneaks in the back door with a yes lock, but Show pulls Bryan out and tosses him into the timekeeper's area, which for some reason is a disqualification. In other matches it wouldn't be, but because it's Daniel Bryan, you know, that's enough. Don't hurt him too badly. Roman saves Bryan. Again. Oh yes. Roman Reigns, Superman punch, and lots of chair shots to the Big Show. Bryan sneak attacks Roman, and they fight, and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon announce after the break that later on tonight, Roman Reigns and Bryan better start getting along again because they're going to face Big Show, Kane, J&J Security, and Seth Rollins. Fan-fucking-tastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. Great way to start the show. Rollins versus Ryback is next. Rollins starts the match with mudhole stomps to Ryback in the corner. I don't know how I feel about this because Ryback is supposed to be this super strong powerhouse guy. I'm not saying that Rollins isn't better than him, but he's the powerhouse. He shouldn't be taken down that easily. And plus, mudhole stomps at the beginning of a match. Mudhole stomps are when somebody's so winded in the corner that they can't get up and you stomp the crap out of them. Now, that's a minor nitpick, to be sure. Tosses Ryback out of the ring. J&J Security slam him against the rail. Rollins hits a forearm in the corner, a neck breaker, and a front headlock. Headlock and knees to the gut. So we're working the head, we're working the neck, we're working the gut. Fantastic psychology. Ryback hits a back body drop. Ryback hits a back body drop. Try saying that 3 times fast. On Rollins. Ryback hits a shoulder tackle, a spine buster. He goes for the shell shock, and J&J Security jump in. 3-on-1 beatdown and another disqualification. Ryback on his knees to receive a super kick from Seth Rollins, and the curb stomp, puts the punctuation mark on all of that. We see a video package, which makes me cringe, and then makes me smile with possibility at the same time. Because it's a video package announcing the return of Sheamus. Now, those of you that have been watching this channel for a long time know that my initial reaction to this is going to be, we've already got Cena. We just got rid of masked Mexican jumping bean Cena. We now have bearded goat Cena. The last thing we need is the return of Irish Cena, aka Flaming Mayo. But then I remembered one of the things that I've heard, one of the things Daniel Bryan fans are complaining about so much, is one of the potential matches we could see at WrestleMania was that WWE wants to do Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus again. Another rumor is that Sheamus is going to come back heel. Now, wouldn't it be absolutely horrible and heart-wrenching if the Daniel Bryan steamroller was all set to go through Roman Reigns at Fastlane and it was stopped by a wicked brogue kick in 18 seconds or so by a corporate Celtic warrior? Oh yes. Not gonna happen in a million years, but this guy can dream. Oh, if that happens, I'm sold. I'm sold for Mania. I'm sold on Sheamus. This will be the turnaround that Sandow got after he attacked John Cena for me. Anyways, not going to happen. I'm fully aware of that, but just think of the possibilities, guys. Daniel Bryan starts doing some of the silly kicks, or he goes to do one of his wild, I can fly, therefore I'm a good wrestler type things in the corner. Sheamus runs in, catches him in midair with a boot, and follow it up with a spear. Roman Reigns wins the match, yada, yada, yada. That would be fantastic. Send them off to WrestleMania. It means Dolph Ziggler has nothing to do, but I mean, right now we're trying to push Daniel Bryan into a main event that he doesn't belong in, which would mean Dolph Ziggler wouldn't have anything to do anyways, so... 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Paige versus Brie wasn't bad. Nikki's in Brie's corner. Paige starts the match with 2 Thez presses and mounted punches. Brie comes back with 2 drop kicks. An elbow by Brie. Brie puts Paige in a leg headlock, which eventually constantly transforms itself and eventually becomes a figure 4 on the head, which is really, really a nice looking move. Because not only does she have the head figure 4, but she's pulling up on her own foot, which is choking out Paige. Not that I want Paige to lose, but it's a nice, neat little move. Roll up on a near fall by Paige, a drop kick by Brie. They both try to slap each other at the same time, which looks good but kind of comes off awkward at the same time. Rolling clotheslines by Paige, and what I mean by that is she clotheslines her with one arm, but with the other arm she's still holding onto her arm, so as fast as she's clotheslining her down, she's pulling her back up for another clothesline. I think she does about 3 or 4, and then she hits her with her own dropkick, tosses Brie into Nikki, who's yelling from the apron, making a lot of noise, etc. Hits the Rampage, and Paige gets the win, sets it up. All nice and neat. Nikki didn't interfere too much, but we know that they're fighting on Sunday for the belt. Hopefully Paige gets the belt back, and everybody goes home happy. I really miss AJ at this point, but that's another story for another time. Rusev and Lana. I'm going through this, guys, because I'm even more tired than usual. It's more ridiculous o'clock than usual, and I've got 10 pages of notes. I counted them before I started. Rusev and Lana come out to huge USA chants, and I know that seems redundant for me to mention, but, like, I mean, when I say huge USA chants, I mean more than usual. Lana comes out, she starts all her stupid propaganda. We are proud to face John Cena. John Cena should be proud to face us too. John Cena has done great things in the WWE, and we want to recognize those tonight. They throw to a video package. The first couple of seconds is John Cena, like, highlight reel type thing, and the rest of it is a highlight reel of John Cena getting his ass kicked, which makes me smile a lot. Cena is a man at his limits, waiting for annihilation. Cena comes out, ask them why they're talking like they've won the match already. He laughs at their assumption that he's just some broken man. He laughs at the idea that Rusev is unstoppable. He says, "You're full of yourselves and you're full of crap, and I'm gonna kick your ass." And the famous John Cena line, "If you're feeling froggy, jump." You know, even back in the day where it was like, if you want some, come get some, that's okay. If you're feeling froggy, jump. It's cartoony and it makes you sound like Brian Cena. Don't do it. They brawl on the rampway. Both of them hit spinebusters on the steel, which always sounds great because the steel hits itself and makes a loud noise, whatever. But Cena, who for the past 2 weeks has had something up with his eye that looks like pink eye meets a black eye meets I don't even know what. But he gets poked in the eye, and Rusev tosses him into the LED portion. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Throws him into the LED portion of the Titantron and leaves him laying. And he does that stomp on the back that he does when he's about to give somebody the accolade, but then the officials pull him off, and that's the end of that. Ziggler versus Wyatt again. I almost don't want to read this because I just want to be able to say Ziggler versus Wyatt, and you guys know how awesome it is. But Wyatt overpowers to begin. Ziggler wrestles Wyatt down to the point where it's almost chain wrestling. It's almost non-Dolph Ziggler style wrestling. There's not much showing off. In the beginning, the "Let's go Ziggler, let's go Wyatt" chants are rampant. And I'm not saying this just to be against Daniel Bryan or whatever. The "Let's go Ziggler, let's go Wyatt" chants were louder than the yes chants tonight. And on a side note, Daniel Bryan did get booed tonight, which made me smile. Because I'm selfish. And Roman got cheered in front of Bryan, which made me smile. Because I'm selfish. Oh yes. Anyways, massive "Let's go Ziggler, let's go Wyatt" chants. Wyatt with a right hand, Ziggler with a drop kick. Chokes Ziggler in the ropes, and Wyatt misses a splash. Ziggler hits his splash along with a neck breaker. Wyatt bails to the outside. Ziggler, not to be outdone, drop kicks Wyatt off the apron. Wyatt rides a headlock in the ring for a while. Double crossbody hits. They hit each other with a double crossbody so friggin' hard that even though Wyatt was the one delivering the move, I think he caught maybe a knee or an elbow from Ziggler in the process, busted his face open. Not sure if that was intentional or not, but made him look even crazier later on when he was doing sort of the spider walk and things like that. Mounted forearms to Ziggler's head, and by that I mean Ziggler's face down. He's sitting on the small of Ziggler's back and just boom, boom to the side of his head. And the commentators, to really underscore how much of a precarious position Ziggler's in, they start questioning whether blows like that to the head should be illegal. I like that. I like that a lot. They trade punches. Ziggler hits a jumping DDT. Ziggler hits a running knee, and then the Sister Abigail is countered into a roll-up for a near fall. Famouser, super kick, near fall. Wyatt bails once again. Outside, Ziggler tries to do a lap sort of around the ring and can catch Wyatt from behind. Wyatt hits the mother of all, JBL should be proud, lariat clotheslines that looks like it cuts Ziggler's head off. And the way his head hits the mat outside the ring looks like a fucking basketball. Drags him in. Back into the ring. The Sister Abigail is academic at that particular point, and Wyatt gets the match. Wyatt then bails to the outside, dragging Ziggler with him. Tries to expose a piece of the floor underneath the mat, and I'm assuming he was going to do another Sister Abigail or whatever, but the officials come down, they try to stop him. I was really hoping that he would Sister Abigail the referees and then do whatever he was going to do to Ziggler, but that's enough to stop because we live in the PG era, and that's just a little unfortunate. But don't fret. That's not the last time we will see Bray Wyatt tonight. Lesnar comes out with Heyman. Wyatt... I can speak, I swear. Heyman cuts a promo, like usual, says, I'm here to tell you a story about information and misinformation. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan are the biggest liars in the land. They both talk about winning Fastlane. They both talk about winning the Rumble. If they say they can win over my beast, my client, Brock Lesnar, they are lying. They are lying to their families, their friends, to you fans, to the locker room, and most importantly, to themselves. Roman Reigns, when you were sat more than 2 feet away from my client 2 weeks ago at the the snow day Raw, whatever the hell they did, I know the yellow stream running down your leg wasn't coconut juice, whatever he says, and that's fine. It's normal to feel fear in the presence of my client, Brock Lesnar. And Daniel Bryan, he mocks the Yes Chance a little bit. He refers to Daniel Bryan as the tragic story of the underdog, which makes me smile, and then says what I've said for a long ass time. Look at Daniel Bryan and look at Brock freaking Lesnar. And then he goes on to say, he's like, hey, I'm not saying anything bad about Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan would make a fantastic champion. He's a great wrestler. He's a great superstar. He's a submission specialist beyond all shadow of a doubt. And he has the crowd in the palm of his hands, and nobody can question that either. But look at Daniel Bryan and look at Brock Lesnar. Fucking wonderful. Does he really, honestly, truly think he can be the one to defeat the one in 21-1? And that's fucking brilliant. It doesn't matter who wins. The same fate awaits either one. Which is brilliant. And commentators at this time are pointing out the spot that Lesnar is in. Not that Lesnar's in much of a spot. Going into Fastlane, he has to prepare for WrestleMania. He would have to prepare for a very different game from Roman Reigns as he would from Daniel Bryan, which is a fantastic point. It's much the same as to say that Lesnar would have to prepare a lot differently for CM Punk as he did for Triple H, as he did for The Rock in his career so far, yada yada yada. Goldust and Stardust, and this was pretty damn quick, versus The New Day, Big E and Kofi Kingston from The New Day. The New Day cut a promo. They talk about how the Goldust and Stardust have more paint on them than kids at a birthday party, and they claim to be brothers, but The New Day really know how to act like brothers, and that's why they're going to win, etc. Kofi and Stardust grapple to start very quickly. Goldust gets the tag, and they trade arm drags. Stardust leaves. Like, not even a minute into the match. This distracts Goldust. Roll up by Kofi, and New Day get the win. This was a very fast-forward way to progress this story. We come back from the break. Stardust jumps Goldust, and the quote from Stardust is fantastic. Cody is dead, Stardust lives. Fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful. Triple H comes out by himself, not with the authority to cut another promo. He says he's ate, slept, and breathed the WWE for 20 years, while others came and went. He was... See, guys, this is why I shouldn't do these ridiculously late at night, and I shouldn't write as fast as I do, because I can't read my own fucking writing, and the whole page is just going... Meh. For 20 years, I have slept, and breathed the WWE, while others came and went, and it was almost taken away by Sting, the face of WCW, who I helped destroy 14 years ago. It's taken 14 years for Sting to gather the guts and show up here. Sting is a coward, and I'm calling him out at Fastlane. Then we hear the Crow, and then we see the spotlight on one fake Sting in the crowd, and then across the arena we see spotlight on another fake Sting in the crowd, and then we see a very... It's a clip of one of the Triple H Michael Cole interviews, but it's all superimposed with the crow imagery and the tree imagery, and it's superimposed Sting paint on Triple H's face, which is a little bizarre. And then you see another fake Sting face to face with Triple H in the ring, and then you see the graphics on the screen change into Triple H I accept. So instead of making an appearance to announce that you're going to make an appearance, you send a bunch of friends in the same face paint and basically create a screensaver, for lack of a better term, to announce that you're going to show up at Fastlane. I'm curious as to where this is going to go, and if we do get this match at WrestleMania, I'm sure it will be great. This segment didn't quite come off the way I think they wanted it to do. The guy that was in the ring face-to-face with Triple H for all of the couple of seconds that he was in there didn't look enough like Sting for me to not look at this and be like, this is kind of goofy. Usos versus Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, with the announcers the whole time bigging up the fact that if they win tonight, they might get a shot at the championships, which means Fastlane. I wonder what's happening at Fastlane. They flash back to SmackDown in a segment that I clearly missed, where there's a double date between Jimmy Uso, Naomi, Natalya, Tyson Kidd, who brought Cesaro with him for reasons. And it all just goes to hell, as you assume it would. It's like sitcom bullshit that I don't really feel like talking about anymore. Kidd and Cesaro double-team Jimmy to start the match. Jimmy and Cesaro trade chops for a while. Usos double-team Kidd, and Jay hits a slam on Kidd. Double Uso elbow to Tyson Kidd. Kidd hits this really weird thing where he's on the apron. One of the Usos is rebounded off the far rope towards him. Kidd basically flips himself over the ropes to do what I would call a head scissor, but he actually grips him with the legs around the shoulders and basically does a body scissor over the top rope to the outside. It's a little awkward looking and very, very painful looking, but it was a nice looking spot. Cesaro does the deadlift toss to Jimmy Uso after we come back from the break. Kidd rides a headlock on Jimmy for a long time. Cesaro hits an axe handle to Jimmy's shoulder and does the mounted forearms to the head, much like Bray Wyatt did to Ziggler earlier in the night. Cesaro hits a great uppercut. Jimmy hits a spin kick to Cesaro. Tyson Kidd hits a springboard. Jay catches him off that springboard with a super kick, so we'll never know what that springboard was supposed to be. Gets Jay a near fall. Cesaro tosses Jay Uso off the top rope, and Kidd gets a quick, cheap roll-up pin, nice and heely, for Kidd and Cesaro to get the win. Throughout this match, the girls were like bickering, catfighting on the outside. It took away from the match a little bit, but not enough that I'm going to complain about it. This match, I guarantee, I'm calling it now, will happen at Fastlane, and if it doesn't happen at Fastlane, it'll happen on the Fastlane pre-show. Please, please, I don't care if it's the Ascension, I don't care if it's Golden Stardust, I don't care if it's some random new team that comes up from NXT, and I don't care if it's the Brass Ring Club or the Masters of the WWE Universe or whatever the hell they're calling this Tyson Kidd and Cesaro thing. Please, for the love of God, take those belts off the Usos. I'm begging you. WWE, throw me a bone. But then at the same time, I have to kind of be happy for the Usos, because they stay in the ring long enough for the announcement that their dad, Rikishi, is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Nice video package about Rikishi, whatever. They play a bunch of classical music and it's just a montage of people getting the stink face, which I think is fantastic. Any character that Rikishi was before he was Rikishi is irrelevant. They show him winning the tag team titles with Scotty 2 Hotty, which is nice. They show him winning the Intercontinental Championship. They show him and his dancing thing with Too Cool. They show him coming back to Raw to dance with his sons, which is also very nice. And then we come back from break. Booker T, who took the stink face at one point, refuses to congratulate Rikishi, and JBL says that Rikishi, quote, has more ass than a donkey farm. Fantastic. Sin Cara versus Mizdow. The match is irrelevant. Miz comes down. Mizdow sets out an actor's chair for him to watch the match from, and he goes on a bit of a rant before the match, telling him not to pose like him, not to steal any of his moves, etc. We get loud Mizdow chants. In the middle of the match, Miz gets on the microphone and says, Mizdow, if you're not too busy, can you get me a water? So Mizdow leaves the match, gets Miz a water, gives it to him. Calls him back again, he says, well, you didn't open it. Fucking fantastic. Miz is such a douche. The best thing in the world isn't even in the match, honestly, because Miz is announced from Hollywood, California, or wherever the hell he's announced from. Because they're in Columbus, Ohio, the crowd starts chanting at the Miz, you're from Cleveland. His response is better than Columbus. It's like, fucking yes. Miz stops Mizdow from attempting the figure 4, claiming that it is the move that he made famous. The commentator's like, what about Ric Flair? That's enough of a distraction for Sin Cara to get the win via roll-up. JBL mentions in this match that kind of quietly, kind of while nobody's really paying attention, Sin Cara's collecting a fair number of wins on Raw and SmackDown, which is decent. I only wish that when he was the NXT Tag Team Champion, I think I mentioned this on a previous video, I wish that if they were going to have him have a winning streak on Raw and SmackDown, when he was the NXT Tag Team Champion, I don't know why he didn't carry that belt with him on Raw and on SmackDown while he was winning these matches. It would have shown what NXT stars can do. It would have given a perfect opportunity for the commentators to segue into talking about NXT. Hey, by the way, these guys have a title shot coming up at NXT Rival, etc., etc., etc. I know it's two different worlds. WWE and NXT are two different worlds, but it would really do everybody a lot of good. And I mean, Sin Cara, if he's going to be on the main roster, him carrying gold of any kind is going to make him look better, and it'll look great to see an NXT title carried on Raw. It's just me. My share, right on cue, is doing its funny thing. We have a Wyatt promo once again, and I've written down as much of this as I can, as I normally do. I have the TiVo, I can pause my TV. I try not to do it as much as possible because then I get out of sync with all my friends that are talking to me about stuff. But since the dawn of existence, mankind has struggled to answer one simple question, and that is, where do we go when we die? Men of science believe that we become one with the earth and nothing more. A man of faith will view things from a much, much, much different perspective. What about those like you and I? We're special. For us, there is no death. This world is our hell. We don't belong here. I know that you can hear me. By now my eyes are wide open, and I don't fear you anymore. I pity you. It's time for you to go home. Find me. Curtis Axel versus Dean Ambrose is a fucking joke, but at the same time, it's really, really funny. Delusional Curtis Axel, crazy Dean Ambrose. Curtis Axel comes out with his Axelmania, with his, I never lost the Rumble. Ambrose comes out, cuts him off, crazy. They have a brawl. I didn't write down what happens in this match because they brawl. They have two crazy guys in a ring brawl. That's what they do. It's fantastic. JBL announces that Axel set a new record for the longest time in the Rumble. He's been in the Rumble about 3 weeks because he was never eliminated. Also great. Ambrose disposes of Axel and goes to the business at hand, I guess you would say. Addresses Barrett. He says, you can deny me all you want, but sooner or later my face will be on that wall of champions at WWE headquarters. They're really playing up what happened on the WWE Snow Day, which I like a lot. Barrett comes out with his questionable new BNZ thing. He said, just because you want it doesn't mean you deserve it. Just because somebody at the whatever the hell awards were last night wore a gown similar to Ric Flair doesn't mean they're as great as Ric Flair. Just because you think you deserve an Intercontinental Championship match doesn't mean it's going to happen. I like Bad News Barrett. on its own. This whole thing where we're now going to sacrifice the Bad News Barrett character to take a cheap shot at TMZ is really shit. I'm sorry. 5-on-2, The Authority versus Bryan and Roman Reigns. The match starts as a mauling, as you would expect. Double chokeslam onto Roman Reigns by Big Show and Kane gets him out early, and then we have mudhole stomping on Bryan by Rollins. Rollins starts like he did last week with the Brock Lesnar-esque superplexes, and again those taunts of, if you think you're good enough to face Lesnar, let me show you what it's like, which is fine. Big Show tags in, and let's be honest, chops him in the corner, and absolutely caves in his chest with a couple of chops. It's beautiful. Elbows from Jamie fucking Noble are funny and make me smile. A couple of bitch slaps from Joey Mercury make me smile just as much. Then a beatdown by Kane, a chokeslam, and a near fall. And it's only a near fall because once again, Roman Reigns saved Daniel Bryan. Quickly, everybody's back in the match. They all pile on Roman. He gets a KO punch from Big Show, and he's out again. Pillar to post turnbuckle powerbomb by Rollins on Bryan always makes me smile. Ryback, Ziggler, and Rowan make the save to even the odds, etc., etc., etc. Here's the deal. Here's what I don't understand. You've got a match going. You've got a main event Raw match going on in the ring where you've got a 5-on-2 advantage. So because Ryback, Ziggler, and Rowan are on the rampway, Kane, Show, and Rollins go up the rampway to meet them, leaving the two guys that aren't really wrestlers anymore to keep up your efforts in the match. So the 6 of them that are not really in the match anymore brawl on the stageway. Ziggler hits a nice splash off the stage onto all of them in that sort of empty dead space beside the stage that's only set up so that people can jump into that area. We are left with Daniel Bryan versus J&J Security. He does the weird double drop kick thing that basically looks like he's doing the splits in midair, which doesn't really look that impactful at all. And because I didn't get enough earlier, you didn't get enough earlier, the crowd didn't get enough earlier, and everybody that's sick of Daniel Bryan didn't get enough earlier, we have, count them, double for J&J Security, more Daniel Bryan silly kicks. Oh yes, and he's about to go for something. He's in the corner, he's doing the yes, and he's doing it slow motion too. He's doing it cocky, he's getting the crowd going, he's, excessive celebration is something they do in football, I think. He'd get that. He's in the ropes, he's in the turnbuckle, he's doing this, and it's a yes, and they pan back, which is a big mistake, because when you pan back the camera, you see how many people aren't doing it anymore. Call me crazy. Don't believe me. Say that I'm being an asshole. Go back and watch. When they pan it back, it's a couple people to the one side, a couple people in the front row, a lot of people in the back row don't give a shit. And neither does Roman Reigns, because he reaches through the ropes and sort of slaps Bryan in the ribs to steal the tag, spear one of J&J Security, and get the win, which makes me smile. Which makes me smile a lot. Not only that, Bryan, talking to Roman after the match, grabs him by the arm, kind of like a petulant child. But I did all that work, and I did all that flippy stuff, and you were outside for a little bit, and it doesn't matter that you saved me and shit. Like, I'm Daniel Bryan. I'm the one that's supposed to be made to look strong. I did all that work. Roman, showing that he's the true babyface, tries to walk away. Bryan pulls him back again. Shoves him. And he says, well, if I'm shoving, and if I'm already bouncing off the ropes anyway, why don't I hit Daniel Bryan with a massive fucking spear to end the show? Fucking yes. Even Triple H and 70 Man are watching behind on the monitor. Their smiles are as big as mine. This is fucking fantastic. If this means we're going to rip the Daniel Bryan fans' hearts out and he's the one that's going to turn heel, even better, because Roman Reigns would stay face and go on to face Lesnar and be the champion like it's supposed to be because he won the Rumble. Guys, I try to be nice. I try to hide my bias, but Jesus Christ, that was funny. Just imagine like a big Great Dane just trying to go on his walk around the block, and some little yippy chihuahua just won't stop nipping at his heels. Just fucking bite his head off. Oh yes, that is a hound of justice if I've ever seen one. Call me cliche as fuck if you want, but this Raw made me smile. You see the smile on my face. Daniel Bryan fans, Daniel Bryan crybabies, and Daniel Bryan fanboys can suck it, because in the words of Paul Heyman, let's bring it down a notch. In the words of Paul Heyman, look at Daniel Bryan and look at Brock Lesnar. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going, tell me what an asshole I am, but you know what, I'm Spaz and you're not. Talk to you guys later, bye.
You're a freak